FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase. Top the league, we own the space. Talking for them, we break it down. In this league, we're wearing crowns. Who's informed, who's lost pace? Pick the best, never a waste.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and how are you doing today? You're welcome to another edition of FPL Rodeo, your one-stop shop for everything FPL. This is a very different morning. While we love the game of football, it turns out that everyone is loving other sports as well. We have Babajide somewhere playing tennis. Larry is, I'm not going to name Larry's sports. And unfortunately, I've had to sweep the studio a couple of times already to get it cleaned, but turns out that no one came in. So we're going to run a different style this morning because all of our managers are out either scouting players or trying to get something interesting done. So everyone is kind of, reaching out remotely this morning to see how we can give you guys the best of FPL. As you know, FPL Rodeo is your one-stop shop for everything FPL. We love the sports. We love the game of football. We love EPL. And then we want to put our mouth where our money is, or our money where our mouth is, however the saying goes. So with me today, I was able to pull Lanre and Babajide. Morning, guys.
Yes, morning to you, Mayor. Good morning, Lanley. Lanley from Lanley Sport. How are you doing today?
That was Lions. That was Lions. Good morning, people. Good morning, everyone. And exciting, and even exciting because of how the transfer window closed. I was up following the news. I'm sure some of the assets that would come in this season would really be very much important to talk about them today. So I'm looking forward to the show. Having a nice time with you. Morning.
Okay, so this morning we're just going to leave the studio open because I'm sure everyone is distracted with different sporting activities. I don't understand how someone is playing tennis and is analyzing football. I think I need to send some medals to Babajide, whether you win your competition or not. We love you. You're part of the family. But how do you play tennis and at the same time you're analyzing FPL? I need to know the secret.
Yes, I think it's one of those things in life that you just have to find your way around it. Apparently, when I tell people that I even started, one of my very first foundational sports was actually table tennis, even before football. But along the line, life happened, and then what's it called? The orientation changed entirely, and you had to navigate your ways around football.
Oh,
And it got to
you
the
met
point.
our seniors. You met senior Riola. You realize that it's not for me.
Uh, maybe even not that, just like football too. At some point, it's a case of having to make a decision between academics and sport. You
Ah,
understand? And
true.
when you look at what is obtainable in this part of the world, you know that 80% out of the times it always goes to at least face the academic squally. So once in a while like that, you still have that passion for sport, and it is even what got us there in the first place. I even train you not easily believe this, but I even train table tennis 3 times in a week. You understand? So just to try and keep the body and soul together, and then to also keep fit. But it's a good one. Table tennis aside, we're looking forward to another interesting edition of this FPL show, which also gives us the opportunity to talk largely about EPL because there's no way you talk about FPL and not talk about EPL. So it's a two bundles, in one. And we're looking forward to a very nice chat. And maybe for me, um, before talking about FPL, what do you guys think about the case of Osimhen, the transfer deal of Osimhen? I think
Mm.
it took quite a whole lot of effort, and it generated a whole lot of noise and attention in the sporting world. But one reason or the other, we had so many, we got so many information about who said what was proposed, what was not proposed, what the player thought, what his agent thought, club from both sides. But one statement of fact at the end of the day is that Osimhen, as we speak, is going to be retained at Napoli. Maybe by tomorrow that will change because the Saudi transfer window doesn't close until Monday. So maybe there's still a possibility of getting something done around that side. But what do you guys think?
For me, I think I understand where Victor Sima is coming from. But at the end of the day, like I had this analysis with a few of my friends a couple of days ago, and it was unanimously agreed that in as much as all these football players love the sport, at the end of the day, it's their career, it's their means of livelihood, right? And it's not something for anyone to mess with, right? But at the end of the day, Victor Sime is my brother, is our brother, is the son of our soil. We love him. And for me, I just really wish him all the best, whatever the outcome is, because it's been a while since we had a great from our end. Uh, how great we know Austin JJ Okocha was, but on the if you look at the laurels, I don't see his name, but everybody in the sport knows, respects, and appreciates him. And I'm just very, very optimistic for Siemens' career as well. It's just unfortunate that there's so much drama around him trying to get to play in EPL at this point. Larry.
I was almost thinking that you come and then it will make my captain decision to be quite straightforward this weekend. Osimhen
It's always
making his home debut against Crystal Palace. I mean, what could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Absolutely nothing. That was a sure banker of a double because he would have all the time in the world to make a statement, and he has all the necessary,
amen.
impetus and reason to want to go gaga in front of goal.
I'm
But it's
telling you.
okay.
Yeah.
Larry also wanted to say something.
Yes, yes. For me, it was a very interesting saga. I somehow I was wishing he could join Chelsea. I didn't want him to leave Europe. I know the money um being offered by the Saudi club is huge, and it's a life changing um money. However, I felt a player of his caliber, and he's still young. He has so much to offer. However, looking at the news that came out from the transfer news that Chelsea were offering even way below what he was earning at Napoli, and would only make the deal permanent from next season. So it made no sense. Um, it made no sense that he was going to leave that much money on the table with buts and what ifs, right? And also, I think Napoli also did him dirty from the news I gathered from Twitter yesterday. They made it difficult for him to make the deal to Chelsea and also to PSG, and learned that he has a great personal ties to PSG, but Napoli made it difficult. All of a sudden, they were willing to accept lesser fee from Chelsea when PSG was offering something like the same thing earlier in the season. They frustrated uh, Osime and his agents, and even the switch to Saudi at some point was almost two, and they asked for more money. So it remains to say what indeed Napoli wanted to get out of this whole thing, because I think at the end of the day, Osime still has all the cards in his hands. And I think not leaving for less or not leaving for a place that he didn't feel comfortable is pretty much a very right decision. However, like Julia said, we still have 3 days to go before the end of the transfer window in Saudi. Maybe this last 3 days will give me enough time to reflect on what to really do with his career. If you look at the kind of players that really moves to Saudi in this modern era, there are players who are at the twilight of their career, who just want to earn the cash and say goodbye to football. And just a handful of them really move because they think they have enough done in Europe. I know last season St. Maximin from Newcastle moved. I know Ruben Neves also moved. But if you look at those players and you compare them to Osimhen, they are not in the same range. I mean, Osimhen is currently top 8 best footballer in the world. So
Say
you
it
would
again.
want.
Say it again.
It,
Can you
it's
say that?
current, it's currently top 8 best footballer in the world.
Say it
And
again, again. I want to underline it.
Victor Osimhen is currently the top 8 best footballer in the world. You wouldn't want that kind of asset to start living his football life. I mean, somewhere in the Asian part of this world. You know, I think for me, it's fair for him to just chill. I know he risks not playing this season if he stays back at Napoli, and I don't think that with that much money, if he stays back, Conte would not find a way to actually use him. Just play a few league games, play a few um, cup competition, or even whichever one, whether it's European Cup or which one. And I think that if they even fail to use him and he stays back, they lose more value. They're looking for 85 million euros, and only Saudi is willing to pay. And even next season, he stays and he doesn't even play at Napoli. He loses even more value. And Osimhen, I think, could comfortably still get a decent salary in Europe, whether it's Chelsea or PSG. So I would rather prefer that he stays at Napoli rather than go to Saudi. But then, you know what money can do to people these days. It can sway you to different directions. I mean, when converted to naira, I was looking at we are looking at trillions of naira in 4 seasons. You know, it's amazing, amazing. So the ball is in the court, but we can only see how this transfer plays out. So yeah, that's it. Okay. So Jide, aside Osimhen, I mean, there were a couple of other transfers that left so much to think to talk about. Uh, uh, what what do you what do you think of uh
What do I think of who? Is it from
yeah,
your end or is my
no
network?
problem.
I'm kind of struggling to pick your point.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I think it's a lot better now.
I said,
Yeah.
what do you think of Jadon Sancho's move to Chelsea last minute? I know it's your club.
um,
I know it's more like situation for Sterling, who also made Dallas in the switch to Arsenal. But yours is the move to Chelsea is not even just a loan deal with obligations to buy. If you meet certain
so
criteria, which I think is
so while trying to process what to respond with, right? I had to take a sip of a coffee, and
okay.
I mean, I think generally, if you look at all the circumstances that surround it, I'm not sure it's an illogical decision by the board of the Chelsea. And you ask me how, right? Obviously, Modric's mystery still continue. He struggled so badly, despite being given enough time to prove his mettle and show what he's capable of, and how he's able to overcome his mental block. But he has struggled to do that so far. And since the beginning of the transfer window, Maresca has made it very obvious that he doesn't have any plan for Sterling. And so what that means is that you're going to literally be left with only Pedro Neto to play from that flank, right? In an ideal situation, I think it's Pedro Neto. So the question is, what happens if anything happens to Pedro Neto? And you could have literally made mention of quite a whole lot of other options that could be considered, right? But when you look at all the factors in terms of how quickly can we get this deal done and what are going to be the financial terms around it, what's going to be the best thing, then I think it's something that makes it, kind of make sense. For a loan deal, that you have the option that you can permanent at a considerably lower fee of 25 million pounds. And I know maybe a lot of people have lost faith in Sancho. Maybe I had as well before I started hearing about his possible move to Chelsea. But the truth of the matter is, when you look at his performance while at Dortmund before he came to Man U, yeah, it was a very quality player, and Man U spent almost, I mean, more than 70 million to even get his signature in the first place. And he came to Man U, he had that flash of brilliance sometimes until that time when he had the fallout with Eric Ten Hag, and after that there was that impasse between both the club and the player and the manager, and the best decision at the time was to ship out Sancho back to Dortmund. And for you to know that that talent is very much there, right? He had a very, very interesting time at Dortmund when he went back in the second half of the season. And you could see that for somebody like that, the talent or the potential is not something that is questionable. What could be wrong has to do with maybe the environment, right? He's not able to thrive in the environment of under Eric Ten Hag. And maybe that is when we're hoping that somebody like Maresca is able to get the best out of him in that sense. So I don't think it's a bad deal when you consider all the factors that surround it. And just like every transfer, you can only wait as much to see how it pans out at the end of the day.
Great.
And
Looking at it from FPL perspective, do you think it's going to be a very solid addition to anyone's squad this season? I know he's found it quite hard to settle in the EPL since he made that initial move from Dortmund to Man United. So do you think it's someone that anyone should consider? I mean, I feel he should be a starter. I'm looking at the way the transfer happened. But do you think it's worth anyone actually bringing on into their team?
well, I would say maybe not at the moment. When you look at the amount that it comes with, right?
Yeah, 6.3.
It's only rated at 6.3 million. And when you look
Yeah.
at that Chelsea side, you have a lot of options that are the 6 million bracket, right? So you have quite a lot of options that can be considered in his place. So you want to at least wait a while to see how the whole thing, how he settles down into the team and what are the qualities that he brings. How well is he even able to convince Maresca immediately? So those are the kind of things that will determine whether you want to bring in Sancho or not. João Felix costs 6.5 million. Neto costs 6.5 million as well. You have, Madueke costs 6.5 million. Maybe at some point, depending on his performance, maybe Sancho will also rise back to 6.5 million. I think generally that Chelsea midfield, right? You have quite a whole lot of options in that midfield. Madueke, João Felix, Neto, Jusbury, all Nkunku, right? You have Modric as well. So all of these are going to be playing behind Jackson. So you have just 3 slots for all of these options. When you add Sancho to it even makes the headache of selection to become much more difficult. So I think it's a wait and see for me. For now, maybe the only option that is assured to start week in, week out will be Cole Palmer. So you have to factor that into your decision.
Okay. So I'm just thinking, Game week 3. So many transfers have happened. I mean, last deadline day. In my head, I'm thinking, is wildcard good? In my head, is it a good time to do wildcard? I see a lot of people talking about wildcard. For me, I feel like maybe a little too early. However, if you can do it, please go ahead. Though. I would not.
You're trying to talk about wildcard to somebody that has already activated his wildcard.
I know, right?
So I think for me, what I've always said to people is there are no wrong or right way to play the game. You can only play the game the way that you feel you consider to be the best approach for your team. So going into last game week, I looked at my team and I had, just like I tweeted, that I had quite a lot of fire to put out. I had Anderson, I had Jacob Murphy, I had Isak, who Messi eventually turned up to become a very good asset, but he was constituting nuisance in my team already. Even though you can see that the entire Newcastle team may slightly be struggling, and I think Isak has also tapped into that. At that point too, I had the almighty Bako, who has now left Brighton and was to Sevilla, right? So I looked at all of those things and I wasn't entirely comfortable with the way that I was looking at my team. So I just felt at least quite a lot of managers will still activate their wildcard between either game week 4 or game week 5 after the international break. What else could go wrong if I maybe just take that initiative and then jump guns ahead of others? So I thought about it. Whether you want to blame that on alcohol or smartness, I think time will tell. But the truth of the matter is that the deal has been done already. So I've activated my wildcard one. And there it is. You're hearing it live and direct from the horse's mouth.
Okay, good. So I can hear also, especially members of FPL Radio. Babajide has activated the wildcard one. So in case this is the perfect time for you to ask what he did differently. In case you want to toe that line, and you want to beat, he's one of the big wigs in the league. So it's better now. You can't lie on the studio. You can't lie in the studio. You can't lie. So best
No,
time
no,
to
no,
hold
no. Trust me, for the sake of openness, and because it's also supposed to be an educational show, right? There's no crime in, I just looked at it, and of course, like the disclaimer is that what works for me may not necessarily work for you. So you have to take the decision based on what you think is the best for your team. I've brought in all the cream de la cream that you can think about, right? Currently, I have Salah in my team, I have Kopama, I have Saka, I have Haaland, and I would say when you already look at the combination of the prices of people that I've just talked about now, your guess is as good as mine on who are the bombs that make up the remaining part of the team, right? So I just try to, at least in the meantime, try to make the most of that cheap and open that, and I'm able to get a very immediate return from that. When you look at history, all of those assets are people that have proven over and over again that they have what it takes to deliver the goods, right? Kopama was the highest, FPL pointer last season. Salah is Salah. He's always a king in the game of FPL. Haaland has taken to the EPL by the storm. He has taken it by the scruff of the neck, doing it back to back, being the highest goal scorer in the league. And of course, Saka is always the go-to man for Arsenal. Anything good that wants to happen to them, and all of these have, returned. The interesting part of it, all of these have returned double digits in at least one double digit in the first 2 game weeks. So I just looked at it and trying to make the most of their fixture. Salah goes away to Man U when he has scored 11 goals against Man U in the Premier League, and in all competitions he has scored 14 goals and gotten 4 assists in 15 appearances against Man U. Which makes him also a very good, viable captaincy option for this game week. Palmer is going to play at home in front of the fans against Crystal Palace. So they have the opportunity of at least showing to the world that the 6-2 victory against Wolves wasn't a fluke. And they try to at least get their first home win, having lost against Manchester City in the first match at the Stamford Bridge. Of course, Saka home to Brighton is definitely going to want to at least try to leave some mark before he goes for the international break. And Haaland takes me to West Ham. The first time he played against West Ham in 2002-2003 season, he got a brace there. Last season, he got a goal. So all of these are viable options to return points. And I'm sure a number of managers usually struggle with combination of these guys because of their price and their price points. So you just have to look at how you can combine, maybe not all of them, but I think it would be a crime that is worthy of a penalty if you do not have at least 2 of these guys. And that is me being, very honest and trying to look for a strategy that should work for every manager outside there. You shouldn't go without having 2 of these guys if you don't want to be burnt with a fire that you can't recover from.
Good.
I'm just looking forward to it, yes.
Okay, so
I'm just analyzing Vajide's team and everything.
You understand? I was thinking that all this about him, I just said that, okay, let me see this guy's rank on the table right now. I went to our league and comfortably, I would say comfortably, because I know for him, he doesn't care about his early startups. He only start taking the season serious, like seriously, he wants to start eating the middle of the season. But his current season on 11th is roughly 19 points off number 1. What I would just tell Okwe that is sitting at number 1 is that he should just go and tighten his buckle this weekend, because you can look at the arrays of stats that he has reviewed that now. It's coming for the number 1 spot for you. That's my own advice. So Okwe, just go and get ready. And Okwe is at the Oluwatobi show at the Awoks FC. I think Awoks was the current manager of the week. So those 3, I know that your goal is to actually win. He's actually with the manager of the month, but you have Abaji getting down your neck. Wild card 1 activated. You have all the must-have assets. How he has even been able to fit all of them in his team, I don't understand. You want
to know the secret, right? You want to know the secret?
Yes, tell us.
I think that's where you know who they call Cardozo. That's where Cardozo comes in. So I think you can look at it, and just like when I told maybe a couple of FPL managers as well that I've activated my white card, the first thing they wanted to look at was or the question they want to ask was but your current team doesn't look bad, right? So what exactly is pushing you? What is making you to run or anything? And I looked at it that way. Maybe for you, the team doesn't look bad, but I'm not so sure the team is where I want it to be. So I think at some point I'm still going to use the wildcard one. So why not now? And the interesting part of FPL this season is that, which makes it almost, also very interesting, is the week that you're activating any of these chips, especially your wildcard, you're still able to keep your free transfer right. So going into game week 4, I'm going to have 2 free transfers that I can make the most of to try to at least be better prepared for the mini fixture switch going into game week 4, game week 5, 6, and 7. So let's see. At the end, they say justifies the means. But for now, we can look at the means, and then at least, even if I'm not happy with the rest of the team based on my wildcard selection, I think I'm happy with the fact that I have the cream de la cream.
So it's either you get the means or you get beans. When they say you get beans in Yoruba, Otijewa, that means
or the white people will say you either sink or swim.
And you get.
So let's see who we sink or let's see who we can swim together.
Interesting. So I want to go back to transfer a bit. So we got a question from our group asking us to talk about Sterling's move to Arsenal. They're looking at the fact that Arsenal forwards and they only managed to get a white forward in Sterling, who is surplus requirement in Chelsea. Is that going to be a good deal for Arsenal? I'm sure we can talk about that from FPL point of view. We know Martinelli has really struggled in the past 2 seasons. I mean, last season into this season, he's not really gained that form. That's why he light up EPL in 2023 and also FPL. So Sterling a good supporting cast or probably a lead cast for Arsenal from that angle and also FPL wise. We know Trossard would not start. Trossard is that get out of jail card that Arteta likes to whenever he's struggling to break any defense. So what do we think?
No matter how you flip it, I just think that it depends on what the manager wants to achieve and who he wants to use. But I'll put Raheem Sterling on the pitch any day, anytime, till he retires.
A big Raheem Sterling fan, Abby?
Yes, I am.
Interesting. Interesting.
I was checking my Twitter yesterday to see if I've ever tweeted about Raheem Sterling. Maybe I should go and delete my bad tweets about him. But I found myself being a star. There was particular when I said that I'm a Raheem Sterling star. I said, okay, fine. I'm
We've all been there.
Yeah, guys.
We've all been there. And I think that's where growth comes in. And to be honest, right, it wouldn't be out of place to, at one point in time in the past, being a fan of Raheem Sterling. There was a time that he himself, Suarez and Sturridge, they caused a lot of havoc for defenses. Right? Understand? You have that triple S. So, and was a relatively young guy then. He was flying on top of the world. Everything was working for him. He formed a very formidable partnership with both Suarez and Sturridge, and he was doing very fine. And it was even based off of that achievement that Guardiola looked at it and felt that I can't afford this kind of talent to just be benefited from by just a single team. And then, he made the call. They brought him on board. And at the beginning of his years as Man City, right, he was able to translate that from Liverpool to Man City. And, he was one of the favorites of Guardiola when Guardiola was trying to settle down then. And it was always, playing week in, week out. At least he could average nothing less than 15 goals and assists every season. So which made him a very comfortable asset for Guardiola to have. But along the line, I think there was a kind of a switch that was flipped sometime. And
he started second guessing himself in front of goals. He started overthinking things. He would find it difficult to take decisions in terms of when to pass and when not to pass, when to dribble, when to go one on one, or when to play the others into the game. So it became a very frustrating player for Guardiola. And the moment Chelsea came, he didn't even think twice about it. It was a very good opportunity for him to let go of Sterling. And coming to Chelsea, obviously with all the financial terms, it's been a very topsy-turvy kind of time for him at Chelsea. Personally, I wouldn't say he was a success at Chelsea, and maybe a part of me understand why Maresca may have gone all the way to say that he doesn't have Sterling as part of his plan, and he wanted to let go of him because he's been at the club, and when you look at, he was one of the elders in the team
Actually,
alongside
mm,
Silva
mm,
before
mhm.
Thiago Silva left. The
And
young
then
guys needed
around
to
the
look up
lot
to
of
him.
matches.
Exactly, the young guys needed to look up to him to be able to see at least find the light at the end of their tunnel or the darkness that they still were. But it was literally frustrating, week in week out. Sometimes you will see that flashes of brilliance, right? Because when you have it, you have it. It's a case of how consistently can you show it. So he wasn't delivering on that. And for somebody that was getting nothing less than £225,000 per week, come on, I'm happy. I'm happy that Arsenal has taken him. But in terms of how he's able to integrate himself into Arsenal, I think that would be a very tough one. I'm looking at a case whereby, of course, Saka is going to be is definitely a mainstay in the team, right? So the option that Sterling will have to vie for will be competing with Martinelli and Trossard from that left flank. Don't forget that he's played quite a lot of the time in his football career from the left as well. Until Jack Grealish joined Man City, Sterling was the one occupying that left flank for Manchester City. So it's not as if they can't make it work there if he plays from the left wing. But the big question is, how quickly can he integrate himself into the club with his age, with his experience, to show that he deserves to have that regular shirt ahead of Martinelli and Trossard, who are currently at at the higher part of the pecking order. So we'll see how it goes, but I don't think it's a bad option for Arteta to have in his rank because of his experience and because you are going to be competing in multiple competitions this time around. Don't forget that Champions League commitment has also been increased from 6 matches to 8 matches, with the
Mhm.
possibility of even extending it to 10 matches if you get to the point of playing playoff. So you need all the quality hands that you can get as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And you know the funniest part of Stanley story that he's been around for a long time. And you could tell that, I mean, if they tell me today that Stanley is 35 years, I will not argue. If they tell me he's 26, I will not. If they tell me he's 30, I will not argue. But this guy is 29 years and it looks like he's been around for
It feels like he has played for 29 years already.
you get so he's still pretty much around his prime. So I can only wait to find out what he plans to do with him and how he can get that value out of him. I think he's around the same age. I think Gossard is probably 29, 30, if I'm not mistaken. So he can still get those value out. But then, yeah, Gossard is 29, so they're the same age, so they can offer this equal value. But then I feel maybe Arsenal had better positions to address. But then we needed a centre forward. But I see that he's now keeping faith with Havertz. We all see that Gabriel Jesus is not very reliant when it comes to being fit the entire season. He's injured already again. I mean, he didn't go to any summer competition. He was around throughout the summer. He was injured earlier on towards the end of the season. He had enough time to recoup and got better. He was sharp during preseason. Now he's injured. So that means we are left Kai Havertz. So if anything happens to Kai Havertz now, we are toast. So we only have Trossard to play centre for us. Trossard would play better as a false nine rather than that your point black at center forward. So I was hoping to actually get somebody in with, especially with Nketiah leaving, but then that did not happen. Well, so we can only wait to find out if he's not going to be the old guy we often and puffing. And last quarter of the season, we just find ourselves feeling dejected. It's tough to be an Arsenal fan and at this time of the world, this part of the world. We'll find out. So for that transfers in EPL, the one that actually excites me most in terms of having cheap attacking options is Nketiah to Crystal Palace. It's obviously going to be Tata. Mateta is just coming back from Olympics. He hasn't had the Edward has left for Leicester City. Ayu is no longer there. You know, when they say Ayu there, Ayu is no longer there. He's not in Leicester City as well. So Nketiah to Crystal Palace. Let's discuss. Good FPL option or not?
Good FPL option, no.
5.9 currently. 5.9 currently.
And I like the fact that you said currently, because
Yeah.
again, I see that going up.
Yeah.
Well, for me, right? I think you made yeah. I think Larry made a very important point about all the departures from Crystal Palace forward line. So that gives Nketiah that opportunity to quickly find his way in the team and establish a permanent shirt. Definitely is going to have to fight a lot alongside Mateta, or to be able to dislodge Mateta from that center forward position. But with the absence of Otson Edouard and Jordan Ayew, at least the competition has been reduced to some extent. And don't forget that there was a time that Arsenal was able to bank on Nketiah's competency very well in front of goal when Gabriel Jesus was injured for Arsenal at some point before Kai Havertz came into the team. Is somebody that can back at defenses. He can go ahead and try to get goals out of nowhere for you with quality support. He's shown that he has what it takes. But of course, just like some transfers, it doesn't necessarily have to work out for you at some clubs because of the competition at Arsenal. I think on a personal note for him, it's not a bad idea because he's going to have less competition to deal with compared to what he had at Arsenal. And you made also a very good point to say that Mateta hasn't really had the opportunity to settle in since he came back from the Olympics, and which is totally understandable. We were even very surprised to have him already going into their lineup already. So that gives Nketiah the opportunity of making a very big statement. Who even knows? Maybe Glasner may just want to pair the two of them at the center forward and try to adjust the midfield line to have Eze, Kamada, and some of these other guys that they can do the work together. I think it's for all the parties. Crystal Palace is getting a proven center forward. Arsenal has shipped out somebody that he's most likely not going to play, and Nketiah himself has now been transferred to another London club where he will most likely have more minutes of football. So it's a good one all around.
Yeah, and what if there's no better place to start than Chelsea? It's going away to Chelsea, and we know he somehow finds joy playing against Chelsea. The few times has not given him a chance. So let's see what happens.
I hope he finds sadness this week. I hope he finds sadness this weekend.
Hey, guys, what's happening now?
You said you usually finds joy against Chelsea, and I'm saying that for this weekend, when Crystal Palace is coming to Stamford Bridge, I can wish him good luck for all the other weekends, but definitely not this one.
Okay. Yeah. So, what do you want to wish good luck out of the fixtures that we have? Juicy fixtures we have this weekend. Let's talk about Man U Liverpool if you want to. It's
interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that's that. Without a doubt, that's the fixture of the weekend, without a doubt. And it falls on a Super Sunday. I think one thing, and maybe all Manchester United fans want to close their eyes or close their ears at this point. If I'm not mistaken, I think in the last maybe 12 fixtures that both sides have played, Man U have only won one. Maybe I should repeat that for the sake of Mayor, in case he has network issues, that he can hear me clearly. Man U has only picked up victory in one match out of the last 12 matches against Liverpool.
Babajide was speaking just now. Did he drop off the conversation?
Nice one,
I
nice
will,
one.
I will take that as a confirmation of your understanding of the point. It's fine. So it's all signs are pointing to Man U not picking this again, and this is me being very fair, right? The struggles of Man U for last season were well documented. But you were hoping that that would be addressed in the transfer window. Of course, they've done very good business, right? Brought in Matters, the Light, Lenny Yoro, brought in Mazrari, Zexi, and the most recently was the Ugarte, who is going to come to the midfield and Marshall, the Man U the midfield. But they see, even though they've spent more than £180 million in the transfer window, at a glance, you can easily sense that something is still missing in that team, right?
No, so we
And
don't actually have
to the point that
just yet.
you said
We don't actually have a team just yet.
exactly
It's
to the point
surprising
that
to
to the point that Oiland is not available, right? And you have to play Bruno for 2 consecutive matches at the center forward position. You can, some may call it first nine, but the truth of the matter is Bruno is the one that is playing as a center forward position for Man U right now.
Exactly.
And you want to critically look at it and ask yourself question that is something wrong with somebody somewhere. You understand? So I totally agree with you, Mayo, that maybe that team is not there yet. Of course, they were able to pick that win against Fulham at home on the opening day of the season. Some could even argue that maybe Man U didn't deserve to pick up the maximum points based on the shift that Fulham put up that night on that Friday night. And then they went to Brighton, and
and their day was not
history supports, and Brighton had to do everything to make sure that they did not Brighton Man use it. And now, if Ten Hag needed any fixture to at least ensure some sustainability or some stability rather in this team, I'm not sure he would have preferred to have Liverpool, who on their own part, with Arne Slot, he has taken to the team like a duck to the water. Took back-to-back victories now, both home and away, and the guys seem to be in favor of having him around to replace Jurgen Klopp. They listen to his instruction, and you can see that all of those guys are ready to really work hard for him because they don't want to make it look like Jurgen Klopp is no longer around, and then the team will more or less collapse. Salah has left from where he left, has picked up from where he left last season. Diogo Jota has been sensational. Luis Diaz has been on fire. And Szoboszlai is being the midfield maestro. You see have McAllister, and then when you go to their defense line, Van Dijk, continues to age like a new wine, and like an old wine rather. You have Trent Alexander-Arnold, whose right foot may not be matched by anybody currently playing the game. So all these signs are not looking very, permit me to say, looking very bright for Man U. But it's football. You could just have that moment when Rashford, for example, just flip that switch and then he has a very memorable game, or maybe it is Garnacho, or what's the name of these youngies? I don't know why Man U or team will have Ahmad. The name itself does not even sound nice to start with. Ahmad starting, But I'm looking forward to a very interesting game. But I have Sunday afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Baraji. Thank you. From FPL point of view, you want to look, okay, which player should I target? I mean, I know Salah is more. For some of us who do not have Salah, this is one of those games where we bite our fingers, hoping that he fails to deliver. But Salah, Salah always deliver. That's the thing. I mean, even when nothing is going right for Liverpool, he's either getting one interesting shot at goal and the keeper fumbles, or one assist that is ridiculous, or one penalty call that goes Liverpool's way and he buries it. So if you have Salah, please start rejoicing. You can please clap him if you have him. That's my own personal recommendation. I'm looking at Man U versus Liverpool.
What if I have Salah and Haaland? Because nobody is asking me what's happening to me this season. It's strange.
If you have Salah and Haaland, I think
there's nothing strange about it.
But for you, I don't know. I was hoping we'll not get to talk about you. But now that you are how are you on this show? How are you on this show? Are you bottom three? How?
Oh, no, bottom three. No. I'm at the foot of the table. I'm carrying everybody on my shoulder.
I'm trying to paint the next thing now.
What the responsibility you are bearing?
So apparently, I just tell you guys what happened. At the beginning of the season, I just did auto pick, right? I think I did the auto pick 4 or 5 different times till I was sure that I had Haaland in my team. Okay. And the intention was to see how the first month was going to pan out. He's not panning anything.
Mario, I'll show you your team. Let's see your team. Just display your team. Let's look at your team right now and see. I tell you what is wrong.
No. So I've actually gotten to a point where I've told myself that no, this is not going to be nice at all. I can't
But
explain.
if I look at your team is not bad. Of course, Walker, Foden, if not for Euro,
I'm actually saying
right? You have a Arnold, you have Odegaard, flash of brilliance. This is over. You have Alan, you have Muniz, you have Watkins, you have Nkunku. I don't know what that guy is cooking, anyways. But then, so out of your starting 11, you have like maybe 5 to 6 shouts. And if those 5 to 6 shouts typically delivers, you are swimming in points. But it's just like I think it's a case of poor luck. Forget the fact that you did auto pick. Your team is not actually bad on paper.
So I just left the team and I wanted to see what's going to happen. Remember, FPL Rodeo doesn't allow me to have more than a single team.
Yeah.
So my intention was to have one team.
And you leave it.
Yes, I was going to leave it till winter break.
But looking at you might even be owing us points if
you're going to leave it till winter break, but it's looking like for you, winter is here.
I was actually, and this was the reason I actually we could register multiple teams, but the rules are the rules. There's nothing anyone can do about that. So I had to stick with the team. So I just said to myself, if I can't have that, static team till winter break. So my intention was have my regular team, take a second team, auto pick, see what happens till winter break, use my transfers available to me at winter break, or maybe wildcard at winter break, and then see what happens till the end of the season. That was the intention, right? I had no plans to triple captain, no plans to use any chips, except either I use the transfers available to me or I wildcard. That was the plan, right?
But what do you want to do now that this your intention is tensioning you?
I'm telling you.
What do you want to do?
I spent all week thinking about it. I gave up because it's a lot. I have players that I would love to have in this team. As
do
wildcard
already.
Really love to have in my
team.
Between yesterday night and this morning, I was able to successfully bring in. So I would, drop some names now. I was able to successfully bring in Salah into this team. Okay,
nice. Awesome.
I was able to so I had to sacrifice a few people, obviously, right? Foden is definitely not playing, so I had to first let Foden go. But it was not difficult to balance out the team because I needed to borrow money from
and I think that's where Cardoso should have also come in for you.
That's where Babajide Cardoso comes in.
See, so it was a struggle because there wasn't enough funds, and I usually do not like to take a lot of point hits. With where I am on the table, if I take the point hits required,
you'll be going down to drill some oil for us, to drill crude oil.
Off climb.
NNPC will increase the output of oil with you.
You see, but I'm actually so here's the thing. I'm actually trying to see how I can ease out of this situation that I'm in. That's the truth. Okay, I want to wildcard that game with 5 or 6. I'm still thinking. I don't know how long I can hold out, but this is not where I need to be. This is not where this is my worst start ever to any FPL season.
And it may turn out to be your best ever.
Even the usual suspect of the bottom feeders, in our league, they are flying high.
Some people get Santorini.
You get
private jet.
You get Ijoba FC, even though our Ijoba country is not making sense, but Ijoba is shopping. It's quite the top 7. You understand? Sami Keys, that one is always your company anyway. You guys, I don't know, maybe You guys are having streaks or
I'm
something.
sure we'll hit back after watching the show. You just wait.
No, no, wala. But then I think white card is the way to go. See, if you really want to wait till game, all good. I'll be happy to add you to my review.
So you want because I said I want to wait now. You are now praying to face me head to head. This life.
It's like coin giant results.
You know that popular balance in pigeon that say who no like better thing.
Right? And this kind of
but I hope you guys know that I won my last head to head, right?
Interesting.
you see that
And I think that's one of the flip side of the game for me.
How would you score 45 and you beat somebody that scored 44?
The same way somebody scored 102 and still did not win head to head. So don't worry about it.
Imagine the game.
Imagine. Is those bad part of the history?
Yeah. No, so
I think
head to head very interesting.
So Captain
interesting. FPL can be very funny sometimes.
Captain Alan Salah, Saka, Palmer. I think we are spread for choices. I'm looking at features this game week. Alan the away to West Ham. But you already mentioned how prolific he always. He is always against West Ham. We have Fulham to Ipswich. Ipswich is newly promoted to the EPL. Interesting. Maybe it's that time to gamble with is just an option. We have Arsenal at home fighting. Kai Havertz might also turn up. We have Saka to in. Of course, the biggest fixture, mind you want to go the way of Fernandez. You want to go the way of Salah. So those are the options.
What did you do for Salah now?
Fernandez. Maybe it's this game week that the first night will not.
I think in my opinion, right?
It is not funny.
I think this. So if you ask me, I think Salah. If I have Salah in any time, even if Salah is 180 years old and he's has to come and play.
So Larry, let's make it a bit interesting. You have Haaland, Salah, and Saka on your team. In fact, you have Haaland, Salah, Saka, and Palmer on your team.
Somebody, I'm sure Babagi they have all of them, and I know Babagi is going to pick.
It's not somebody we know already.
So, and I think that's also the flip side of having all of these assets. There's that additional headache of who do you trust with the captain armband, right? I know full well that all of them are very good options. And I think for every manager, it doesn't pay to even overthink anything there. I've heard shout of people saying Watkins against Leicester City, or maybe Isak at home to Tottenham. For things like that, please don't cry if you get burnt at the end of the day. The options have to be from either Haaland, Saka, Salah, or Cole Palmer at home to Crystal Palace. I think we shouldn't also forget that. More than half of the goals that Cole Palmer scored last season, more than half of his goal contribution for Chelsea, almost 65%, came from Stamford Bridge. So maybe I'm serenading him because I currently have my captaincy choice on Cole Palmer. And I'm hoping that he's able to replicate his performance against Wolves, which would definitely brighten my day, even though that may not brighten Manchester United day. But you can't go wrong, even if you decide to trust Salah against Man U. We've spoken about his exploit already against his favorite Premier League opponent. And of course, Haaland is Haaland. He always has supplies coming from De Bruyne, Doku, and even the recently added Savino, who's a very brilliant option, a very brilliant chap from Brazil, and Saka. And the good part of this is all of these guys are on the penalty, choices for their different clubs. So it makes it easy if any one of them get the penalty. I currently have it on Palmer. Maybe I would be swayed to take it to another person. I don't know yet, but at least we have the next 1 hour plus to make that decision.
Okay. Talking about captain pick. Let me hear from before I talk. Mayor, are you aligned? Palmer, Alan, Salah, which one? Or you want to do
So for
white?
me, if I have all four of the mentioned players, you never go wrong with Haaland. But for some strange reason, I will most likely captain Salah this weekend.
Anyways, there's no right or wrong way. I'm sure this is one of those weekends where you play
Just
that.
captain one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. No, all the assets they have the points so that you don't feel left out. I don't know if you guys remember one season where Manchester United played one team. I can't remember. Fernandez was the choice was between Fernandez and Salah. They were the hottest assets then. And Fernandez had played earlier on, a day earlier or a few hours earlier, and he had recorded 18 points. It was mad, mad. And what was that went for Salah? Salah was playing away to Crystal Palace. We were like, oh, how? And Salah turned up with, I think, 2 goals and a couple of assists, and he also recorded like 18 points. So, Vice Fernandez asset output, and it was really crazy. It was one of those crazy days or weekends in FPL. So I'm hoping this weekend is going to be something like that, where we all have equal points. I would like, oh, it's good, Jerry, no, nothing to worry about. But for competition,
Imagine,
I pray.
imagine if all of these options return double digits. I'll be in
Ah,
7-7. I'll be in
about
7-7.
100 points in the bag. 100 points. 100 points in the bag. For those of us that have, I think not all of them, but probably they maybe 120 target like that. So if you have like 15 in 4 places already, you are soft with 60 from 4 assets. Bro. Anyway, so we are close to the end of the show, but just to ask finally, I guess this should be the final talking point. Captain picks out of the way. Which player do you think anyone can bring to their team right now for someone who is not doing wild card that would probably transform the person's life? Irrespective of where you are in the league, whether you are number one in your league or you are also challenging Mayor at the bottom end of the league, wherever you are, which player would you bring? One that stood out for me was Palmer. Coming into the season, Palmer on 10.5, Saka with 10. But like, how do you fit all of them in? Palmer just say, "Oh, that you don't know what you're missing." Like giving us 3 goals, one last week, and his his owners rose during the course of this week. And is this just Palmer? Are there other assets out there that we should be looking at already to bring into as that differential this game week? Tell you with the transfer that just closed in Kitia uh, in Kitia to Crystal Palace. We have
Yes.
to Arsenal, Ginsajo to Chelsea. We have even Aaron Ramsdale, who is now going to be number one choice goalkeeper at Southampton. Uh, cheap, very cheap at 4.4. We have Alejandro Boyana at Everton, another quality option up front for Everton, also for FPL, for EPL. We have Sam Johnson, even a goalkeeper also. I mean, a couple of few transfers and even for those that do not even do last minute transfers in the EPL, which asset do you think managers can actually focus on to gain advantage this game week?
I think if you have to put the context of gaining an immediate advantage into it, I'm not so sure all of these a number of these options you've just mentioned are to be considered. Um, because of the fact that they're just moving to a new club, they may need some time to settle in. So that makes them not an immediately pressing need. Um, I want to say again, if you do not have any of those guys, right, um, especially if you do not have either Cole Palmer or Mohamed Salah, please do all that you can to bring in these guys. When you look at the next 5, 6, fixture list for these guys, they're as good as they can get. Salah is going to play away to Man U. Forget about Man U. They are, you know, they do not necessarily pose a very big threat for now. After that, he's going to play at home to Nottingham Forest, another home fixture against Bournemouth, travel to Wolves and Crystal Palace, and then host Chelsea at the Anfield. And then Cole Palmer is going to play at home to Crystal Palace, away to Bournemouth, West Ham, come back to play Brighton at home, Nottingham Forest at home. So if you need somebody that is going to make that immediate impact in your team and that can turn your fortune around, assuming you do not have any of these two guys, please perform all the necessary surgical operations you need to do in your team and ensure that you bring them on board. I can't talk about maybe differentials right now that you are assured will return point and will change, it will make the immediate impact. So it has to be one of these premium options for me.
I couldn't have said it better than Babajide.
Okay.
No option.
Babaji, thank you, Palma.
Yeah, like I was saying, you only have the premium options really. Take a look at our captain speak. If you don't have any one of the 4 players.
Yes, we can hear you loud. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, Mayor.
Oh, okay. So if you don't have any of those 4 players, I think it's just wise to bring in. And if you can bring more than one, I think it will be a wise choice.
Exactly. I agree with you. It's all good. Our time flies when you are having fun, right? We spent an hour already, and I think it's been a very engaging and very insightful conversation. Hopefully, our listeners are able to pick 1 or 2 points that would inform their decision making for this game week. We're looking forward to another exciting game week. Hopefully, our arrows are green, while that of our competitors are red.
Yes. It's been a fun start to the weekend. The game week deadline is still a few, do I say hours or minutes away?
No, it's exactly 1 hour from now. And just like they say, delay may be dangerous.
Delay may be dangerous. So I've actually, waited till the end and the portal just froze on me. So please do not wait till it's 5 minutes till end of deadline before you make those changes. If you don't have the right people in your team, here's the right time to bring them. If you are in doubt and you need what to do, I'm sure if you listen to all of the things we've said, you'll be able to pick up on 1 or 2 ideas on how you can transform your team. I would also be transforming my team. So I hope as we go along this journey, everyone will get to see how I'm moving starting from the bottom, but we'll get to the top, right? And yes, thank you very much for your time, Babaji. Thank you for your time, Larry. It's always fun hanging out with you guys, particularly with the depth you have and how you break down the choices you make. Unfortunately, we have other veterans that are not here with us, but we'll try to get more people involved so that the conversations can be very rich. And we're also open to feedbacks. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. We're just starting to put ourselves out there on the social media platforms. However, this community has always existed for quite a while. We love the sport. We've bonded together. We've banded together. It's a mix of different people from different backgrounds, but united by the love for football. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been an interesting conversation. I couldn't have had a better one this weekend. And on this note, we'd like to draw the curtain and say thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks to all our listeners. Have a great football weekend ahead.
Yeah, bye everyone. Bye.
In that FPL Romeo, we play the game. Fantasy football, the road to fame. We talk stats, we talk goals. Building teams to reach our goals. Every week we make our picks. Playing insights, all the slick tricks. Got my squad ready to compete. Riding high, never face defeat. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase. Off the lead, we own the space. Talking phone, we break it down. In this league, we're wearing crowns. Who's in form, who's lost pace? Pick the best, never waste. play, navigate with ease. Winning squads, that's our breeze. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase.